I'm back. This is Monday. What do you know? I'm going to tell you all about Google today. And the Google's has had updates lately, and everybody's been panicking because what does it mean for your Shopify store? What does it mean for your website? But I have some cool tips for you today to improve and optimize your website so you are within the new Google updates that has just come out. Although Google has been talking about it for a few years, but now it's where the rubber hits the road, as they say. I am Veronica Jeans, and I'm Shopify partner, and I'm best-selling author of my books. If I point my books, right? Shopify Made Easy, and I've just brought out Shopify, the workbook and checklist. So it keeps you on track of what you're adding to your Shopify store and what you need to add. But let me talk about Google and Google updates. And what does it mean for you? So we have been hearing for years that you need to actually have good content. And I'm afraid to say most of us have not been listening. And so Google is now going to force us to actually make sure that when customers come onto our website, that the information that is on our website is the information that they actually need to buy our products. And so obviously I have phone calls ringing here. Do not disturb. There's so many phones on my boat. By the way, I live on my boat, and I'm doing this broadcast from my boat. So let's talk about Google. The new updates. So the most important things for your website is it has to be mobile friendly. What does it mean? 97%, if not more, people are actually looking at your website from their phone, right? Because if you look around, everybody's on their phone. Everybody's doing research on their phone. They will actually look at your products on their phone, and half of them will go back to your website on a desktop or on an iPad and buy the products. But so we've got to make sure that all our images, content, whatever you have on your phone, on your store, downloads very, very quickly onto your iPhone. And you can check this by going to, for instance, ubersuggest.org. It'll tell you exactly what your website is like on a desktop and what your website is like on a mobile phone. And that is crucial, guys. This is very crucial. So you've got to make sure that it downloads very quickly onto your mobile phone. Then you have to make sure that your images are improved, that your images download very easily. You got to make sure that your speed is good when people are actually reading your website and clicking from one session to the next. You also have to make sure that people stay on your website. So how do you do that? It's easy. Content, right? Content. And I think Maurice Smith always says content is king, right? But it really is. It's golden. So the more information you have on your website, the better it is. So when you have information on your website, you've got to make sure that it answers the questions that customers are looking for. So if they're looking for a particular product and they want to buy it, but they have questions about it, you've got to make sure that you answer their questions, right? So for instance, we'll start from the product pages. On your product page, give them as much information as possible because you want them to actually buy your product, make a decision, buy a product, and give you their credit card. So here's tip number one. Make sure that you have a few FAQs on that page. Frequently asked questions. What are customers asking you about that product? Can you answer those questions on the product page and to give them reassurance, trust to actually buy the product? Number one, okay? So you have your frequently asked questions, ask a question, they ask a question, and then you answer the question. So write it exactly like that. And I'll tell you just now why that's important. Make sure that you have enough information for them to make a good decision to buy your products. Have your shipping information on there. Immediately have your refund information on there. So what Google is looking at is, do you have enough information for your customers to stay on the page and to actually take an action on the page? So your images have to be have as many images as you want to make sure that your product is well displayed, right? Because everything's visual in your store these days, especially if you're online. Obviously, an e-commerce store, nobody can touch, feel, or smell your product. So your images have to be amazing, but you have to optimize your images, right? So that they can't be too heavy, which I mean is they mustn't be, the file of your image mustn't be too big. So if you're looking at your image on your computer, when it says MB, it's too heavy. Which is megabytes. So your image has to be KB, kilobytes, which is make sure that your images are light and that it's as easy downloadable onto a mobile. And they changed the size of the images because remember in the days when we used to have dial-up and images wouldn't download on your website, and they would download like without and take a long time. That's why they started with creating the images and making them very light. And now the reason is because people are downloading your website on your mobile, and the images have to be light. Okay, yeah, that's all I can describe it instead of showing you. Anyway, so your images have to be optimized, and then add the alt text into the back of the image. So if you're looking on your website, you can add as alt text, as ALT text. It describes what your image is about. Okay, so when the Google bots come and actually look at the image, it will tell the bot, because the bot can't see the image, right? It actually just reads whatever's on your website, whatever's the code is on your website. So if you're describing your image, it'll tell the bot what the image is about. And it'll also tell the Google bot that your website is being optimized for people that have a disability. So keep thinking about that. Somebody can't see your website, that they have the computer telling what's on the website. The computer will actually read the name of your image, so people with disabilities can imagine what's on your website. So that's why you should also have the alt tag on there. It's very, very important for Google. When you have for instance, if you have a collection page, number 2, add some FAQs on there, right? Describe what's on that collection page. Maybe have a little text that tells people what the collection page is about, and make sure that you use the keyword phrases, because it's important when you have customers searching for you on Google, then your page will come up because you're answering or they are searching for your keyword phrases. Then that will bring you up to the search content on Google. Subheadings. So we have all our title pages. All our pages have titles. Make sure that you are naming your title to what customers will be looking for. It's so easy to name your product. Sorry, Maggie, I'll have to throw you under the bus here, right? If you name your title feathers, right? Because it's a painting of feathers, but it doesn't really make sense if you're just naming it feathers. You've got to have a descriptive title, so when somebody's searching for it on your website, that the correct product will pop up. And naming your products a fancy name that nobody ever searches for, that's also a little bit counterproductive. And the whole thing is making it so that when customers come to a website, that they understand what you're selling them, what the problem the product is solving, and what the solution is, right? Because your product is a solution to what the problems they have. So if you have let's say feather painting, right? Watercolor feather painting. They want it for interior decorating. It's going to be a beautiful decoration on the wall. You show them what it's going to look like on the wall, what size it is, and give them a description of the size, what quality it is, the type of paper you use, if it's a print. Maybe also, if give them ideas of frames and, the thing that goes around the paintings. I don't know what that's called again. The hardboard that goes around the paintings, to give them a little bit of a frame before you actually put the wood or the metal frame around. Give them that information as well. Make suggestions on how they can use your product. And that's quite a difficult one, because there's only so much you can do with a painting. And then make sure that your grammar actually makes sense to somebody reading the content, and make sure that you don't have mistakes in your content. There's nothing more embarrassing when somebody reads your website and there are grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes, right? Spelling mistakes are pretty easy to actually do something about. But and then also, if you're talking about grammar mistakes, if you have an English audience in the UK, you're not going to be spelling it the American way, and vice versa, right? So if you're in the UK and your main customers are in America, it doesn't make sense to spell things the English way. So always be aware of who your customer is. And again, it comes back to Google. Google wants to know that when your customers land on a page, it makes them feel that they're on the right page. They know that they're going to get the answers they want, and hopefully they can buy something. One huge quick win with Google is having internal links. So when you have, and it's very hard to do it on a home page, on a product page, because you don't want to have your customers start popping out to other pages. So what I would suggest is having a link to your shipping information. As you have your shipping information, you might not have all your shipping information on your product page, but have a link to your complete shipping page. Have a link to your complete refund page, right? Returns page, and have a link to maybe some FAQs about packaging, or maybe some information about environmental concerns or environmental information that is in your package, like we have in Hug Patrol. So her products are made with environmental friendly beads. And so having that information on her product page is important. But if she has a better explanation on an extra page, it gives your customers more information if they want it. So you've got to cater to your customers that want lots of information, and you've got to cater your customers that want quick information, okay? So again, back with the Google. Google wants us to give as much information to our customers as possible. They want them to linger on the page. They want to make sure that if they're on the page and they need more information, that they can click through to another page. You can always make sure that the page opens as a new tab instead of them losing the page that they're on. And what else is there? So downloadability fast, making sure that they have enough content, links on a page, make sure that people's questions are answered about if they do a search for the product and they have a specific questions for your product, that information is probably on the product page. Or one of a really good idea is to have a FAQ page. I've seen so many websites that they have a frequently asked questions page, and there's not enough information on the page. There is information about maybe shipping and refunds or something like that, but they don't really answer customers' questions about the product itself, right? Maybe create an ingredients page to make sure that if they want to know more about the ingredients, they can pop onto your page, give them images about the ingredients, and tell them more about it, right? So, and the bottom line is you just have to give your customers lots of information on the home page, on the product page, on a shipping page, a refund page, FAQ page, and then what about the about page, right? Your story. Create more information about how you created your business and what you're doing with your business and accolades about your business. And maybe you've been in magazines or radios or anything like that, any information you have about your company and about yourself, put that in your about page. The more information, the better, because people do tend to fall in love with with a person rather than with a company, unless you are Nike or somebody, a brand company, which is highly unlikely because they've been around for such a long time, right? So again, and then if you have say for instance, if you had a product page, don't mix your information. Be very specific about the information on that one page. And so if you have a blog, for instance, if you're starting a blog, which I think is really important in an e-commerce store, is writing blogs about your products, about the market, about questions your customers will have. But be very specific about writing only one problem and one solution, well, maybe several solutions, but one problem on a page. Don't start mixing and matching all your information that you think your customers will have, right? So maybe, for instance, if you have a fish pet website, don't mix and match and say, for instance, how to clean my fish tank out and what equipment should I buy. Only talk about the cleaning of the fish tank, and then another website or another blog article about the equipment that you need to buy for the fish tank. So don't put too much information, because when somebody searches for that information, they just want to know how to clean their fish tank. They don't want to know about the equipment, right? So, and that's where you lose your customers as well. When they're reading something and you're giving them too much information, is that they don't absorb it, then they just disappear off your website. So quickly, for recap, I will say, make sure that you're solving one problem on a page, right? Collection page, don't just mix and match all your products on a page. On your product page, one problem, solving one problem. Make sure that your grammar and your spelling is correct. Very important, right? A quick fix for Google, quick win for Google is having internal links. And we know we have to have external links, but internal links are just as important, so people can stay on our website. Make sure that your website downloads very quickly onto a phone, and it's mobile friendly. Make sure that you optimize your images and get those alt tags with your images as well. And also answer a specific question per page, right? Don't mix and match. Unless it's the FAQ page, that's something different. All right, so I'm Veronica Jeans, and I'm Shopify Queen, and I'm a best-selling author of Shopify Made Easy. And if you want any more information, just let us know. Just put it in the comments. I will answer the questions afterwards. And if you've listened to this afterwards as well, then I will come back and answer your questions. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on Wednesday. We will be talking about how to get your Shopify store up and running very quickly. Cheers.